Hey Sonia, thank you. In this lesson, we'll introduce the changing line, also called the tenkan in Japanese. This line is also known as the fast line. On our charts, we like to make the changing line red. Red is a color that traditionally may symbolize hot or fast movement. When we touch a red-hot stove, we are apt to move our hand away from it quickly. To remember that tenkan is the faster changing line, you might think of a person who run 10 times faster after drinking Red Bull. When the changing line crosses the base line, this is a signal that a change in the trend is happening or about to happen. Remember that the tenkan is the fast line and the kijun is the slow line. So sometimes this crossover is called a TK cross. And remember, too, that there are other technical issues which we have not yet introduced, which might alter your trading decisions. We recommend that you do not do any real trading using the Ichimoku system until you have completed all the lessons in this course. Now let's take a look at Armstrong World Industries, which has the symbol AWI. Remember, red is the fast line or tenkan line. Yellow is the kijun or slow line. Where do you see a TK crossover? Is there a buy signal in the Ichimoku system? The TK crossover is right here. Notice that candles in this region are trying to cross over the cloud, but are still below the cloud. So this would not be a buy signal strictly speaking in Ichimoku, although some traders might risk it. Where would a more conservative Ichimoku trader take a long trade based on what you have learned so far? You might go long here since the TK cross has already happened and the stock has crossed over the top of the cloud. Next, let's look at MPLX, an energy stock. As you can see here, MPLX showed a nice big green candle here and it crossed up over the changing line, also called the tenkan. The previous day there was a doji, which signals indecision. The candlestick experts would say that the green candle gapping up from the doji, in an oversold condition, is a strong buy signal. Candlestick expert Steve Bigelow calls this a best friend signal. Would you go long on the next trading day? Following Ichimoku rules, you would avoid taking a long trade at this time because the stock is still below the cloud. Also, the changing line has not crossed over the baseline. However, if you want to use the best friend candlestick rule, you could go long after the big green candle. Just know this is not a valid Ichimoku play. Now look at this area of the MPLX chart. What trade, if any, would you make here? You could go short here. The stock is below the cloud and you can also see a bearish TK crossover. Now let's consider a chart of American Water Works Company, which has the symbol AWK. At this point in the chart, is a short warranted? Although that's a big scary red candle, which is breaking below the changing line and the baseline, there are two things suggesting that a short is not warranted. Number 1, the current candle has not crossed below the cloud. Number 2, the changing line is not confirming the short because it has not crossed below the baseline. Now, let's take a look at this chart of CGC, which shows a longer trading period. There is a big red candle falling through the changing line, the 2nd of May 19. Would you enter a short position there? We would not because the candle is above the cloud, which is still bullish territory according to Ichimoku guidelines. Also notice that the changing line has not yet crossed below the baseline. So that lack of a cross adds to the evidence that a short is not warranted. What about this red candle, May 13, 19? Would you go short there? We would not go short. That's because the candle has also not decisively crossed below the cloud and the changing line has still not crossed the baseline. How about here, May 29, 19? Yes, we would go short here because the red candle has decisively fallen below the cloud, and a TK cross happened 6 or 7 bars ago. This chart shows intracellular therapies, which has the symbol ITCI. About February 18, 20, here you can see a doji followed by a green candle, then another doji followed by another green candle. Steve Bigelow calls this a doji sandwich because there is a doji sandwiched in between two green candles of about equal size. A doji sandwich is a strong buy signal. Is this also a buy signal as per Ichimoku trading rules? No, because the candle is below the cloud and there is no TK cross. Well, that concludes this lesson. In summary, remember that when the fast line crosses the slow line, this signals a possible change in the trend. This TK crossover, ideally, should be confirmed by the candle being above the cloud for a long or below the cloud for a short. In our next lesson, we will take a look at another indicator, called the lagging line or in Japanese the Chikou.